Hello guys, welcome to Field Skills. This is installment 2 in our gear and kit series where we're going to talk about our combustion kit today. Now, just as a bit of a reminder, the 10 C's that we talked about are the original 5 C's through the Pathfinder system. That's having the items that we should carry with us always are a cutting tool, a combustion device, a cover element, container, and cordage. First 5 C's. Everybody's pretty much in agreement. Those are the hardest to duplicate in the wild, and what every outdoorsman needs to have in his kit when he leaves the house, goes out into the woods. But the next 5 items of the 10 C's, I don't look at them as items, but mine are 10 kits. We have our care kit we talked about in the last episode or video. Today we're going to talk about our combustion kit. We have a cook kit. We have a catch kit we're going to talk about, and then our comfort kit. Those are the 10 C's of mine, 5 items and 5 kits that we take with us into the wild based on the situation we're going into. And today we're going to talk about the combustion kit. Now, a lot of people refer to it as a fire kit, and I think they're two separate things. And I say that my combustion kit is designed, set up to the point that the only time it's going to come out of my bag is when fire is a necessity. When I have got to get a fire going in a hurry to get warmed up, to get dried out. That is an emergency, a survival kit, the combustion kit. And we're going to talk about that today. But the fire kit, as most people talk about, is when we need a fire or we want a fire. And at that point, we need to use our bushcraft skills, finding natural tinder, fat woods, cedar bark, out there, MacGyver those things as we're going through the woods. And when we need a fire or want a fire because we want to fix us a cup of coffee or tea or just warm up during the day that we're out in the woods, we use our bushcraft skills to get that fire going. But the combustion kit that I talk about is a survival item. And my combustion kit, and most of those can be as big or little, but an Altoids 10 will handle everything that I need or I want in my combustion kit for survival. And let's just go through it real simply, quickly. I carry a little bit of jute twine. It's just easy to roll up in there and use as some tinder. But all of the items in here relate or are going to help with our triangle of fire. And the triangle of fire is the 3 legs to that, or is we have to have heat, we have to have oxygen, and we have to have fuel. You take any one of those 3 legs away and you won't get fire. Of course, oxygen is available everywhere. If we're breathing, we've got oxygen available. So what we're looking at is in this survival kit is ways to ignite or to create heat to get the fire going, and the fuel that we need to get that fire going where we can build it into a sustainable fire in the woods. And when we think about fuel, let's just remember that there's 3 areas to fuel. You've got tinder. That's what's going to get the flame going, to get the fire started, something that'll take a spark, that will take a flick of your big easily to get that fire going. Tinder. Then we add kindling to it, the small stuff that'll burn real easily. Pencil lead, up to pencil size stuff, maybe even up to your thumb is the kindling to get the fire burning hot. And then the fuel or the wood that we have to sustain the fire and keep it going for longer periods of time. So when we think about the triangle of fire, heat or ignition, combustion, oxygen, which is there and fire needs it to burn, and then the fuel being tinder, kindling, and wood, or the actual fuel to sustain that fire. So when I develop my combustion kit, it's going to relate to those two items. Oxygen's there, so I want ways to start a fire that are sure that I can for sure get a quick fire going, and then tinder to get that fire going. You're still going to need to develop your kindling and your fuel out there, but to get the fire started and to sustain it long enough to get kindling built in there and get the fire going is what I'm going to have. So I'm going to have combustion devices and tinder in this fire kit. Some of the things I carry in there, and I've talked about them in other videos, is ignition sources, things that are going to, well, let's start with the ignition. We carry a big lighter, small, big, in there, something to strike and get a quick flame that we can light some of this tinder, maybe the jute twine that we carry in there or something, but gets that fire going quickly. I also carry a ferrocerium rod. Any conditions, this thing will throw sparks. I've taken the little end off of it so it'll fit in there nice and neat through that, but a small ferrocerium rod. You can carry storm-proof matches. I don't have any in this one, but I do carry those in some that will burn and get that ignition to our tinder that we have. But when I talk about tinder, I carry two main ones that I make myself. The first one is the cotton balls dipped in Vaseline. And I showed the use when I MacGyver or collect or scavenge red straws from Burger King, the sandwich shop we have in town, and make the straws. And I'm going to show you how I stuff the cotton balls soaked in Vaseline in there and how well they work as a fire starter in bad wet conditions out there. Also, I like to use jute twine that I have dipped in melted down guff wax. Dip the jute twine in it. It waterproofs it, and then it will make it burn much longer when you strike it and use it as tinder to get your fire going. So wax dip jute twine is a great source I really like. And then I carry some natural wet fires, quick fire type things, commercially bought, but you can pretty much make your own for a lot less money than is needed there. So in that, I carry my combustion devices and tinder as part of my fuel to get the fire started in there. But also my tin, and what else I carry in here is I carry some tools, and I count my tin as a tool. But one thing I have taped inside is a striker for that ferrocerium rod that I have in there. But it'll throw sparks off of the rod, help me get that fire going. And the other thing I carry is some tin foil. Now I carry tin foil in my care kit, can be used for cooking. This could too, if I can get it out of here. There we go. But a couple sheets of tin foil, just folded up flat, put in the bottom. And what do I use this for? This can become on a cold, windy, there's a big old squirrel going up through the trees, windy day, and I need a windscreen. Take some of this out. I can also use a piece of it as my fire base to build my fire on if the ground's wet, damp, snow on the ground. Build it on that. It also reflects heat and will help to generate if I'm trying to warm up through there. But take just some tin foil and you can open it up, fold it out, and I'm going to show you in a minute how I make just a simple windscreen around my fire if I need to get that fire going where I can get heat, and how this becomes the reflector to really throw some heat off of the fire. No matter, it doesn't even have to be a very big fire, that will throw heat to warm you up, to dry you out when you need it. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But you know, I mentioned these things and these items as part of my combustion kit. It's a survival kit. The only time this should come out of my bag is when fire is a necessity. I have absolutely got to get a fire started in a hurry to get warmed up or dried out. But then a fire kit, most people carry some kind of fire kits, and you can have big elaborate ones. I keep one in this waterproof tin. I have a lot of the same things here. It's bigger, more matches, a bigger candle in there, some surefires in there, but just a fire kit. But also when we go along and we think about a fire kit, and when we just want or we need a fire to warm up, but it's not a necessity for us, using our bushcraft skills. We should have our combustion device, a good ferrocerium rod with us to start a fire. We can collect the tinder, the kindling that we need through the woods. We can practice our skills, part of the triangle of survivability as we go back to. Having the knowledge, putting that knowledge into practice, into developing our bushcraft, our woodcraft skills out there. Flint and steel can go with us. We need to practice that. Work on building a good bird's nest and getting a fire started from that. When we just need or want a fire, take that time to practice, to develop your skills in the woods, your fire skills out there. But I also wanted to mention one other little thing I do keep in there. I carry some in there to help get a flame. Is some of these trick birthday candles. You know, they'll blow out and they'll start back up, and they work, don't last long, but you know, it can come in handy to reach in there and get some marginal tinder warmed up, dried out, so you can get started. And they're less resistant to the wind blowing them out. So something you can find. I think I found these at a Walgreens looking for a birthday card for my wife, and picked those up to use. But let me reset the camera, and we'll go through some of this, the windscreen and some of these. I want to show you how I make the cotton soaked or the Vaseline soaked cotton balls that I stuff into the straws. And we'll set that up, get the camera at a different angle, and be right back. Okay, let's talk first about the cotton balls soaked in petroleum jelly that we put into the straws, and I'll show you how I do the straws in just a minute. But what I do first is I take just a Ziploc freezer bag, put a good glob of Vaseline into the bag, and then I take the cotton balls and break them apart, spread them out, get them thin where they'll really soak in that Vaseline, and just rub them. Get it in there and just soak that, get that Vaseline all soaked into those cotton balls. And when you've got that good and soaked in and spread out, then you're ready to use them. Now I'm going to do just a little bitty one and show you that you only need a portion of it, because I normally do straws about that size. Let me get it down where you can see it. Down about that size, where today I'm just going to do a small one, and then we're going to use this and let's see how long the cotton in this thing will burn. And you can see it's about a third of the length of this one, so you can get 3 to 4 fires out of one of these straws this size. And these straws of course fit inside the Altoids tin. The first thing we do is we take our multi-tool or a good set of needle nose pliers, and let me find my lighter. Went in my pocket. Needle nose pliers, melt that down, blow it off, and just let it set a minute. When you take it off, that end is sealed up, becomes watertight through there, but easy to pop loose when you get ready for it. But you seal that up on that end. Then you just take a little bitty pair. I got just a little pair of tweezers that I work with. Open up my bag and just pull out a glob of that cotton soaked. Spread it out a little bit. And that's all it takes. That's actually more than that will handle. one time. Stuff it down in there. Good. Grab my other little bit. Spread it out some. And just stuff them in there. And the straw's that long, you just stuff it full of it. Then what you do is take your pliers back. A little Vaseline may pop out on the end. Just wipe it off. Heat that. Let it seal itself. And right there is a little quick fire, if you will. Costs you nothing. You MacGyver or scavenge the straws from your local restaurant when you're in there. And you can make these things. And you can see there's not much to that. And in a moment we're going to light this and just see how long these little things will burn and how well they burn to help you get your fire started. But a real simple little thing you can throw into your Altoids tin or whatever you use for your combustion kit, and it's fire. It's quick fire. It's going to take a spark from the ferro rod, use your lighter, and do that. So works really well, but it's very simple, and it's just something you do one evening at the house. Sitting there watching TV. You can sit in your easy chair and make up a bunch of these. Throw them in to your kits, your combustion kit, or whatever kit you carry, and you've got it available. Quick, instant fire when you need it in the woods. I mentioned too that we, one of the things I do early and carry along is I take jute twine. Get some of the guff wax I showed you, or paraffin wax, some kind of candle wax can be used, and melt it down, get it liquefied, and then just I cut them off where they'll fit in the Altoids tin size in there, cut them into that, and these will burn about 2 minutes just on their own. Gives you a good 2 minutes worth of flame to get started on there. But in making them, melt your wax, use some kind of old pot you don't care about messing up, because the wax is hard to get out once the residual wax cools in there. But just drop them in, let them soak just a few seconds, and the wax in, take something, pull them out. I lay them on parchment paper, let them cool down. You've got waterproof jute twine as a tinder to help get your fire started in those situations. Real easy to make. Just melt the wax and dip them in it and let them cool through that. So let's show you what we do with that tin foil that we keep in the bottom of the combustion kit. And I'm going to reset the camera again and be right back with you. Alright, talking about the windscreen, what's the first thing I'm going to do? I'm going to grab at least 6 sticks, just small twigs, cut off a limb. They got to be strong enough that you can sharpen the end of them and be able to push them into the ground. But these are going to be the forms for my aluminum foil windscreen and fire reflector. And it's real simple. You just take 2 of them, put them right side by side, stick them in the ground. Right like that. Then you take your sheet of aluminum foil, just lay it in right there, slide it down between the sticks, and you've got a windscreen. Simple, easy to make, goes with you. Now you can shorten these in, wide, whatever you need. You could even lay it down and use the tin foil as part of your fire base to get you up off the wet ground. And this ground is kind of damp. It's been raining here for 3 or 4 days. But one of the things I can use is my Altoids tin that I carry it all in. Becomes my fire base. And build the fire, get the tinder started right there, and then we go from there. So let me grab my tinder, and we'll be right back and show you how this works. Okay, first thing, there's that little small, maybe 1 inch long straw with Vaseline or petroleum jelly soaked cotton balls in that, and you can just squeeze it open like that, and grab a twig or your needle nose pliers and just pull the whole thing out. As you can see right there, may have got that out of the camera lens. Fluff that out. There's your tinder. Actually, I got a little down in there, and just squeeze that, or take your knife, it'll open right up. Cut it off. There's a little more that was in there. Alright, so we got our petroleum jelly and cotton balls there, and then let's just go and look at these. This is the jute twine soaked in wax, and what I like to do is just take one end of it and create some surface area there. Just fluff it out as you would any jute twine. It's a little stiffer because of the wax on there, but it's going to extend. That wax, like the petroleum jelly, is a fire extender. It's going to make these things burn longer. But when you create just that more surface area through there, fold that up. Let's set that in the back. And we got the jute twine wrapped in, soaked in wax and cooled, and then the petroleum jelly soaked cotton balls. And let's just see what happens when we throw some sparks. Well, there we go. Now, as you can see, and if you get down here and feel, there's really some good heat coming off of this reflector. And this is the type thing, let's say it's a cold night, you've been hunting, and you're going to have to spend the night in the woods. It's a situation that you just need to get through the night. If you can get some shelter over your head and create this little thing, you can set up all night if you have to and feed small twigs and sticks that you can gather there to keep that fire going and keep your body's core temperature in control, where you can make it through the night, because that's what survival is making it through that scenario that you've gotten yourself into that's complicated your situation in the woods. But as you can see, the cotton ball is about burnt out right there. You can add more, it'll longer, but it had enough flame. If you've done your scavenging, you've gone out and got you the tinder, the kindling that you need, the pencil lead, the pencil, and the thumb size material, you should have a fire going. If you had to build it right over this tin, that'll work, because that's keeping it up off the ground. The Altoids tin becomes our fire base and keeps it going. But that jute twine is still burning there, and if you can't get a fire going with that, there's some other, you need to get into the woods and practice your skills more. But that's about to get to the end and burn out, and we'll let that burn out, and then we'll reset the camera and wrap this episode up of the Combustion Kit. But I hope you like this small wind reflector through there for a piece of tin foil. Very simple to do. You carry it with you, and if the wind's blowing, you could even spread that sheet out and make it into a small stove, I guess, if you wanted. Through that, just build it up, cone-shaped it with a little chimney if you had to keep the wind out and allow your fire to get going, where you can have a sustained fire to get you through the night or whatever the situation is. So let me adjust the camera, and we'll be right back and wrap this episode up. Alright guys, I hope you've enjoyed this installment of in our gear and kit series, talking about my combustion kit, my survival fire kit. A way to get fire when it's a necessity. As just to rehash what we said, this combustion kit is when fire is a necessity. A fire kit, and using and practicing and working on your bushcraft skills, it's what you use when you need a fire, or you just want a fire to fix you a cup of hot coffee on a cold day in the woods. You practice your skills through that. But I hope this installment has given you an idea of something new to try to add to your kit as you create and your kits evolve in your bushcrafting out there. But it's you know, it's a lot of fun. Now, as a disclaimer, none of this was original ideas by me. I saw, and I'll have to try to go back and see if I can find that video to give credit, where I saw it off YouTube though, about making the petroleum soaked cotton balls in the straws. Neat idea, added it to my kit. If you haven't seen those, maybe that'll spur something for you to do it. The jute twine, another video I saw. Just learning different things. I've seen things about making the windbreaks and around small hobo type stoves, rocket stoves, if you will, and took that idea to create the windscreen if I need it on a cold, blustery day when I'm having trouble getting a fire started. Make you a quick windscreen to get that wind off of it. It's getting too much oxygen, I guess, and to get your fire started. So a lot of little neat ways, things that we all can share with each other and add to our knowledge and the skills that we are trying to develop in the woods. Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, "Life is a journey, not a destination." So I hope you'll join me next time as we journey to self-reliance in the great outdoors. I'm David Fields. Thank you for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe to my videos. I would love to have you join me regularly. Comment. Let me know what you think, good or bad. I want to know. But join me next time as we're going to talk about my catch kit, number 8 in my 10 C's of survivability, the catch kit. See you then.